Text number 1. Don't play with a gun. 3 young men were playing with a gun in a street in a quiet area of the town after dark, when one of them fired it by mistake without aiming it at anything. The bullet broke a window in an old lady's house. The old lady complained to the police, and a detective came to her house. The old lady gave him a detailed account of everything that had happened. She told him that she had recognized one of them as the son of a man and a woman who lived not far from her. So the detective went to the young man's house. He and his companions tried to hide, but the detective found them and the gun and took them to the police station. There, his chief officer questioned the young men to find out which of them owned the gun, but none of them was willing to say. The young man who owned the gun did not dare to admit that he did, because he did not have a license for it. At last, the chief officer decided to put an end to the conversation, so he turned to the detective and demanded to know whether he had got an officer's permission to take the gun away from the young man who owned it. "No, sir," answered the detective nervously. "I didn't get it." In that case, the officer declared angrily, "you were quite wrong to take it away from him. You better return it immediately, or there'll be trouble." This made the young men smile happily at each other, and as soon as the detective held the gun out and said, "Here you are," one of them put his hand out in order to get it back. That is how the officer finally discovered whom the gun belonged to.